Yeah, you can start moving.
Can we
through
get
the podcast.
started?
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, all right. Hello, folks.
Hello.
Here we
Hello.
are again. Bored and all of us. I want to say that we've had some pretty serious emotional stuff lately with the group here, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And I'm talking about death amongst troops, if you will, but most particularly my, gosh, what is that?
Great nephew.
Nephew, yeah, but it was he took his life, and usually when, well, I don't know what's usually because we can't get him back, but one thing that people tend to discover is, or that they believe, is that there is no way out. And, there's all kinds of alternatives that can be suggested, medications and all that kind of stuff. But when they determine that there is no way out of their feelings and their dilemma, then that's what's left for them to do. And there are religious things against that, there are moral things against that, there are legal things against that. Nobody that's ever been successful with a suicide has been prosecuted, fortunately. But the idea has been prosecuted, and and there's a grandfather, I believe, that was amongst the group that
You talking about Larry?
Larry, that decided that was enough. And that there is, I would guess, is what other way out is there?
Well, Larry's body gave up on him.
Yeah, that was the no way out of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to ask the members of this group what you think about that. For instance, and the question is that I'm posing is, what happens after you pass this mortal coil, as Shakespeare put it? What happens next?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't expecting this topic
Yeah, what
today.
happens next?
yeah.
You become the wind, right, Kelly?
I actually, no joking aside, I do believe that that's what you become. Now that could be people believing heaven. I think heaven is descriptive to different people.
Excuse me. What do you believe?
What do I believe?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is what do the members of this group believe? Because that brings it home.
I believe you become the wind.
The wind? A stormy wind? Or a gentle
Depends.
wind? Or...
I think the wind comes to you if you're feeling turmoil, or if you're feeling mist, then you could present as the wind. And that probably sounds really weird, but when you close your eyes and you think of the people that have been before you, and there is no wind, you can feel a wind.
Okay. So,
Like if you close your eyes outside, you can feel a wind, even if it's a still day.
or if you're standing in a rainstorm,
Yeah, but I think that's because the people that are still here need to feel that.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
okay,
I feel it,
okay.
but I don't understand it.
I believe that on your tombstone, there's a year when you were born, and there's a year when you die.
Uh-huh.
And in between that is a hyphen. And I think what we do during that hyphen is what our legacy will live on. So if you are a good person at heart, and you care and you're compassionate, and you show that to your fellow man, especially your family, throughout your entire life, that is the legacy that you are going to leave. I particularly don't believe that there is anything after this. I think our soul has, everybody has their own soul. This is the one I got, and once I use it up, it's over. And I don't believe that there's anything else after this. What I believe is the effect that I can leave on this earth is that's my hyphen.
That's your hyphen. Yeah, so.
Shelby?
So if you're approaching.
Shelby.
I'm good.
Wait a minute. As you're approaching your death knell, let's say, you'd be giving it all up. Or you will consider that you will have used it all up. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not sure I understand your inquiry.
Well, if you're the dash,
Yeah,
then when you get to the, like
the end of the dash.
the end of the dash,
Uh-huh.
and you are there at the end of the dash, you say, well, guess that's it.
I guess you could summarize it that way. You know, I can also say in 100% confidence that when that moment arrives for me, my attitude's probably going to be a little different than it is right now.
Wait a minute!
Forget what I said.
Delete that podcast!
Delete. I didn't say nothing.
I didn't say nothing. I just meant like the dash. I meant before the next dash.
I'll take the next dash, please.
Can I please have another dash?
Can I get one more
That's what I'd be
dash?
saying, yes.
That's called reincarnation.
That was perfect.
Shelby.
I'm good. I'm
No,
good.
you have to answer. We had to.
Boy. We had one
I'm
of
the way
us.
he's a dash.
One of us. Okay. This is a tough subject to cover. You know, this is not one that I like to be pinned down on, which makes this very difficult to answer. I would say that I probably lean towards the same outlook that Paul does, in that you live your existence on this plane to the best of your ability, try to instill values, lift your fellow man up, because that's the way I would prefer to be treated. But in terms of like what happens when you meet your maker, I do think that you basically are done. And it would be great to be able to kind of like see as an omniscient being, like what had happened, what people think of you, how you positively affected people throughout your life. Like I think it'd be a really cool moment. But I also question in that train of thinking, is that just the human operating system shutting down to say goodnight, right? That is constantly where I come back to when I think of like, okay, when it's over, what actually happens? That's where I land on it. And in terms of kind of, as Paul said, my opinion on this will more than likely change, right? Because I think you come to a point later in your existence where you are grappling with your demise, and that presents a lot of internal conflict with anybody. I think it's part of the reason religion is found by many later in their life.
Good point, right?
What do you believe?
What do I believe? Well, I'm the moderator.
See what he did there? This was brilliant.
Talk about a gotcha moment. Jeez Louise.
I'm going to point this out, but I'm going to say this with an immense amount of love and respect for you. You're closer to the end of your dash than the rest of us are.
Yeah, you are.
You mean notwithstanding that Mack truck that's around? Maybe I shouldn't have said Mack.
This podcast brought to you by Mack Trucks.
To be fair, I believe that there's an afterlife, and what we do before we get there has some bearing on what it's like when we actually get there. And there are ways to go. You can go this way, you can go that way, and it's not up to you to do that, except by what you do when you're a human being. So you're not. If I can throw a little thing in there, you're not half divine yet, or all divine yet, which is the wind. You just go the next step, and to wait until it's time for you to be, can I use the word, reincarnated into some other being, which will keep you going for maybe another 100 years, maybe another 1,000 years, and at which point you would need another being. See, that's the idea of reincarnation. I get a lot of that from the Bhagavad Gita and the idea of reincarnation, that we do go on. Now, a very famous scientist who couldn't talk by himself very well, but is recognized as a great man from Cambridge in England, is what's that guy?
Are you talking about he had ALS?
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking?
Stephen Hawking. He said this, that you guys might, talk about whatever you want to talk about, but there's no afterlife. And that goes to what you're saying and what you're saying. With the belief that when you come to the end of the life cycle here, that's it. There's nothing more. And I think that's, personally, I think that's depressing.
Yeah.
Just to take it that way, yeah. So, and I think along the lines of forming a religion or adopting a religion, older people tend to come more carefully to that, I think, than not. So, I disagree with you guys with
Would that imply that there is an infinite number of souls and they just need to be continually recycled?
Until you're done.
So there's an infinite number of souls and they're just reincarnated and recycled into another person, a giraffe, a fish, or another person, or another living being.
Sounds pretty preposterous, doesn't it?
Well, I've heard stranger things.
Yeah.
Really? But
Your mom believes in reincarnation.
yeah, she does.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And is that possible? Because there are times where you both have felt it. I know you have. You'd be fibbing if you didn't.
I haven't felt this.
Yes, you have. You don't even know what I'm going to say. I have. This feels so familiar. I feel like I know this.
Deja vu-ish.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There are ways to tell or get a glimmer, at least, of what you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And, you need to do a little study on it or how to do that.
There's probably a hooker in a brothel. That'd be my guess.
You have no memory of that?
I have no memory of it. But every now and then I'm laying there and I think, have we done this before?
Wait a second. Did I date King Henry?
Did I get? Why does my neck hurt?
What's my neck?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Hey, Kelly, what are you going to do with that whiteboard, Kelly?
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just holding it.
You're holding it.
Till the dash is over.
I'm
That's
the
what I do.
wind.
I hold it. I hold
Till
it.
the dash is over.
Till we end the dash.
I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, jeez.
And
Let's see how far apart it is from the other.
talk about a little bit is Sufism, or what it means to be a Sufi, or what a Sufi is, or where that word came from. And it's spelled this way: S-U-F-I, not Y. That's why I had the
Sufi,
side book.
which is also F-U.
F,
Yeah.
crazy bastard. But it's a Sufi is a how much time have we got? Not very much, probably. It wasn't. They weren't called Sufis until 1827, and they were referred to as Sufis at that time, and it's because they were seen with a wool. Suf means wool.
Oh, Suf means wool.
Yeah. It's because they were seen with robes that were patchwork to indicate their humility or humbleness and that sort of thing. And so that's where the word Sufi comes from.
Oh.
If you want to find out a lot about it, you can pick up this little book. And there's a lot of stuff written by Idris Shah. And he professes to be a Sufi, and he's written a lot. There's also another guy that I had some he's responsible for this book, which is what is a Sufi and what is the Sufi tradition, and that's what it describes. Now, the difference here, I'll tell you what the difference between a Sufi and, say, a regular mystic is. These are mystics.
I gotta put this down. My
Yeah.
arm's getting
Oh,
ready to
yeah.
be the wind.
Yeah. Regular mystics have been known since what? Day zero
Mm-hmm.
and before. Mystics. And what a mystic is, and more particularly what a Sufi is one who, even though it's said that they have a religion and they are demonstrating a religion, they are not. They are not religious. They believe that they can get, well, after a little background here, most Christians say, well, you got to get through Jesus. And a lot of Sufis have come out of the Muslim thing, but they are not Muslim, not necessarily Muslim. That is an aside from what Sufism is. But Sufism is very much of a mystical thing to follow, to kind of maybe get to the other side of some stuff that we can have difficulty getting to as people. But they teach by, and you'll enjoy this, teaching stories. Teaching stories. And in some of these books, it's full of teaching stories. And you say, what's a teaching story? It's a story that's told to you
To teach.
to teach that has another message besides the obvious one. So,
Does it have its roots in Arabia or in Muslim
yes, it does.
theology? Is that where this comes
I
from?
wouldn't say Muslim theology, but it has its roots in Arabia, and there were Christian mystics very early on, which was zero time or what, or well, it wasn't very early. It was very early in the Christian era, and
Like BC, before Christ.
BCE, yeah.
BCE.
BW, before wind.
Yeah.
So this Sufism is very, I mean, you could say this is ancient.
It is ancient and
This
modern.
is ancient.
And modern.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a way.
Hmm?
She what this says, the way of
The way of the Sufi, yeah.
Sufi. That's why I wanted to spell it correctly, so you guys would see that. But we can talk more about that as time goes on. And what does it mean to be a mystic? And what does it get you? Or what do you give it? That sort of thing. So I'm sorry I've been a little bit
That's heavy stuff we're dealing with right now.
a little
So
bit didactic
Yeah.
on this, but I wanted to point that out because I like that.
you are.
A mystic. I'd like to be a mystic. But so
You know,
anyway,
we're looking for answers for things that happen around us, and we don't have an explanation for why they happen, but they happen.
yeah.
Maybe there's something we can find, or somebody can find in this theology or belief.
Not in the theology, in the belief in yourself as asking the question. And you're more than likely, if you're quiet, it's like prayer, Jesus said certain things. You say you do prayer this way, not shouting it from the
Mountain.
mountain, the cathedral, or anywhere else. You do it to yourself. And in that sense, you become a mystic. But a mystic doesn't necessarily maintain the same answers that you might give to certain goings on in the earth and what people are and stuff like that. So I would.
Well, let's talk next week about AI and mystics. How does the AI fit into Sufism?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's put your brain to a test. Okay?
You asked for it.
Yeah, I know. So, why don't you bid them adieu, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
See you, gang.
Shelby is
Bye.
kind of floating here. He's not engaging today.